Welcome, everybody. I want to thank you again for spending time with us today. We understand how valuable everybody's time is and really appreciate the opportunity to share with you what we're doing. My name is Mike Ehrenberg. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the Dynamics business at Microsoft. And I've been at Microsoft for about 14 years and some number larger than 30 in the industry that I don't like to talk about anymore. But this really is one of the most exciting times for what we do. Basically, what the cloud is making possible, what technology like AI is making possible, is really letting us change what we do, and we're excited to share with you kind of what that's all about. You heard this morning that we sort of anchor everything in trying to deliver on this idea of digital transformation. What are the things that we need to do to help our customers in a world where there's enormous amounts of data, where people and devices are always connected? How can we use those things to deliver better results? How can we engage better with our customers, empower our employees, optimize our processes, and even transform the products and services that we offer? And as we think about what it takes to deliver solutions like that, and that's really what I'm going to talk about this afternoon and what we're going to share in a set of demos, I hope that you walk out and see that the breadth of Microsoft's investment, from the pure core of the cloud to the applications that we're building, to the partnerships and the ecosystem that we have, really put us in a position where we can do things to enable this digital transformation that others just simply cannot. Our CEO frequently talks about the idea of digital transformation. It's kind of great for me to see this picture of him again, because the last few days I keep turning on the TV and I see a picture of him sitting next to our president. So it helps me to reset and get back to this image in my head. But Satya is always talking about the digital transformation, and I think sort of the fundamental takeaway is that no matter what business you're in today, whether you're a retailer or a manufacturer, or whether you are in a service business, you have to think about software and data not as something that's behind the scenes, but it's actually part of how you do your business, and that it needs to change how you do your business. And if it doesn't change yours, it'll change some competitors in your industry. And I can tell you that it's changed how we run our business. I think he talks about the fact that everybody needs to think of themselves as a software company. I think we got that. We understood that Microsoft was a software company. But our business right now is incredibly different in the way we run both the business part of Dynamics, but also the way we drive our engineering is completely different than it was just a year ago. And I'll sort of explain what I mean. A year ago, with fundamentally software being delivered on premises, the focus of the way we ran the business was about revenue for this quarter. And I know some of our salespeople still see that as kind of an important piece, but that was it. Yeah, hey, Beth, good to see you. But that was it. That was the number that we focused on. It was, where's this quarter, where's next quarter? And today, we do something very differently. So first of all, we as a Dynamics team, we look at a Power BI dashboard every day, and we're focused on two very different things. The first is usage. So we're looking at the daily and monthly active usage of our service. How many people are logging on every day and doing something in Dynamics? So we're looking at that usage curve, and then we're looking at something else, which is Net Promoter Score. Are they happy? And the model is, first of all, we're only able to do that because of this digital transformation, because we're in the cloud now, because we're cloud connected to those customers. We can actually know when they're using it, what they're doing. And we can also very quickly and easily, this idea of being directly connected with the customer, we can actually quickly and easily ask not just our contact at an executive level, but we can ask individual users if they're finding that it's helping them get their job done. We're all learning a little bit. We first had to understand that asking somebody who's trying to log in, record time, and log out, asking them 5 questions about are they happy was probably not really contributing to the experience, but we figured that out. But we have these 2 signals now about usage and effectively quality of experience. Those are the forward indicators. If those things are going in the right direction, the revenue will follow. So we've changed just the way we run the business. But the second thing is we've also changed the way we're running our engineering. And this is an area where we're continuing to learn and continuing to try to get better. But we know what parts of the system people are using. We know which reports are being run. We know which screens are being used. We know which ones are performing and which ones aren't. And we're driving a transformation in our engineers where they're going to look every day at what were the top 5 performance issues over the last week. And you don't want to keep showing up on that list. And that was data we never had before. So that, so that even for us, at the front of this, as a software company, this idea of taking advantage of the direct connection to customer, the availability of all this data, the availability of processing on that data that we could never touch before, is letting us run our business in a different way, both commercially, but also how we engineer what we're doing. And as we sort of think about the key ingredients that drive solutions for this digital transformation, we really look at sort of 4 big areas. It's the cloud, and James talked a lot about this. That's the only thing that allows us to collect all this data wherever we need to and process all this data. It's modern applications. It's applications that are designed for the way that people want to work today. It's this idea of the intelligence that's built in. And finally, it's this adaptable platform that lets each customer deal with that last mile, the things that are completely unique to their business. So we're going to take a look at each of these areas today. We'll actually do a set of demos that'll take us through kind of the different pieces. So let's start with the cloud and kind of drill into how we think we're different at Microsoft from the perspective of the cloud. And I think too often people just sort of start and stop with this kind of as a checkbox. Is this or is this not cloud software? And I kind of want to click in a little bit and look at what's behind that for us and why we think what we're doing is so unique. So this is a map of the 40 Azure regions around the globe. So a region is a place where we have more than one data center. And I can tell you this is something that it's the last thing I do before I prepare for a presentation is I go and check if the region count is still right. As of last week, it was sitting at 38. And as a last thing before I got on the plane, I checked. And I went to the Azure website, and it's actually up to 40. And I think that's based on the announcements we made in Africa. If you think there's only a few players that are producing cloud capacity at this scale around the globe, but the things that we try to differentiate on as Microsoft are really those 3 words: global, trusted, and hybrid. So you see the footprint here, and as James talked about, that means we've got data centers wherever we need them in order to collect data close to your customers, close to your users. But it means more than that, because we've taken the responsibility to deliver solutions that are compliant with your requirements depending on where you do business. So whether that's local cloud capability in the UK or in Canada, or what we've done in Germany, where we have a partnership with Deutsche Telekom so that under the law, it's DT that's actually the administrator of the data, not Microsoft. And so if someone from a government point of view wants to make a request for a customer's data, they're not coming to us under US law. They have to go to Deutsche Telekom under European law. And for our customers in the EU, that's an enormous difference and an enormous advantage. We have a similar unique arrangement in China where we have a partnership that meets the local needs to be able to do business in that area, as well as a special setup for people working in the U.S. government and with the U.S. government. So that area of global is critical. We talk about trusted. And James pointed to this a little bit as well. Part of that is reliability and the focus on quality and the fact that the cloud that our capability is always there. It's that investment to have regions where we have more than one data center presence in a particular area. But it's also all the certifications and compliance that we pursue to meet the needs of our customers, regardless of what industry they're in. And I can tell you that right now, one of the huge focus areas across Microsoft, so it starts from the core of Azure all the way up through Dynamics and through Office 365, is the upcoming regulations around GDPR, or General Data Protection Regulation. The joke that we have internally is I probably spend more of my time now with our legal team than I do with engineers, making sure that we're ahead of the GDPR requirements. And we actually look at that as a place where we think Microsoft will differentiate. And we're all committed to being compliant and to ensuring that not only are our systems compliant, but we're letting our customers deliver services that make them compliant by the end of this year, calendar year, to be ahead of the enforcement of the regulation. And that last piece is hybrid. So for a lot of the industries that Dynamics serves, manufacturing, retail, warehouse and distribution, the need to have a local presence where I can have connectivity of local devices, where I can know that I can continue to operate, even if I were to lose connection to the cloud for a period of time. We're doing things in Dynamics this year that take advantage of that hybrid aspect of the platform, the ability to connect SQL Server on premises with SQL Server in the cloud, the ability to federate user directory and identity across cloud and on premises. Microsoft is unique in its ability to deliver those capabilities. So we'll talk a little bit more about that hybrid offering later on. I still think that even that map doesn't really convey the scale and the depth of the investment that Microsoft puts behind its cloud. So this is a photo of one of our data centers. And in the circle at the bottom, that's an 18-wheel truck, or a lorry would be more appropriate for where I am. So just to get the scale, that's a full-size truck against that picture. So this is one of our data centers in the US. A region means more than that. To just sort of understand, and these are located obviously in places where we get access to backbone internet speed, clean power, places where cooling is advantaged by the natural environment. To really just sort of understand the scope of the investment, this picture is that same data center from the other side. So this is the land that's already been cleared for the expansion with more thousands of servers, more petabytes of storage of that data center. And as somebody who lives in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, where the environment is always front and center, I'm convinced that those trees were all relocated to a tree farm someplace else. But a huge focus, in all seriousness, on making sure we're driving these things with clean power. But this is just an enormous investment that is ongoing for Microsoft to continue building out capacity and also that global footprint. Let's talk a little bit about what we've done within Dynamics 365 to position us to take maximum advantage of that platform. So we have an expression that we use about being cloud first, mobile first. And this is, again, something our CEO was always talking about: cloud first, mobile first, engineer for the cloud first. And we took that to heart with Dynamics 365 for operations, and now with the rest of 365 as well. And as we looked at how should we move that software to the Azure cloud, and it really breaks down into these four areas that we drove our investment. So the first is, and from looking from the lens of what difference does it make to a business customer. So the first is agility. And one of the key promises of the cloud is this idea of elasticity, that I have compute capacity when I need it. And if I have a spike, I can feel good that it's there. It's not up to me to forecast servers and add those things, that I can actually be elastic. And that was part of our implementation, is making sure we can scale with the demand. The second thing is high availability. So we engineer 365 in the cloud always for high availability. So if there's a failure of a component within a data center, we actually seamlessly fail over. We also build in disaster recovery or business continuity. So if you were to lose complete contact with a data center, we can restore you operationally to another data center, either in the same region or not, and that's your choice. We're very, very proud of the work that we've done there. And then we've actually gotten for 365 for operations, we've actually gotten down to the point that we can restore a site in under an hour. So think of somebody's complete ERP footprint, you lose contact with the data center, and we can have the business up and running against another site within an hour. And that's the scenario we'll continue to work on, but we're very proud of that. I think the second piece is this idea of trusted, and I talked a lot about the work that we do around making sure that we have a cloud platform that supports data sovereignty and local regulations. But we do more than that. So with Dynamics 365, data is always encrypted at rest and in transit. And that was a key decision for us. So making sure that the data is always safe and private. And one of the things that we'll do later this year is turn on the ability for customers to actually control the encryption keys that are used to seal that data. The next piece is a place where we think we're already doing very differentiated work, and at the same time still realize we have a lot more work to do. But this is the idea of taking sort of what has been the best practice for enterprise applications and bringing that to the cloud. So not only do we have the ability for us to push changes directly to customer systems, but we want to support an environment where a customer can have their production instance, test instances, development instances, and give them the tools through our lifecycle services to be able to move changes in an orderly way from development to test to production. And that always, and we do this today, and we'll continue to do this, that we'll go and push changes to somebody's development environment, but the customer should maintain that ultimate decision about when that change gets pushed over into their production universe. Every business has different requirements in terms of when change is appropriate, and we need to make sure that we honor that. And finally, it's the idea of being personal. So this means that we do the work in Dynamics 365 so that even if that solution's running in the cloud, you experience it from the device that you want, wherever you want. So the ability to have the whole application footprint accessible from a mobile device in an effective way. And really to engineer so that our communications between that device and the cloud is as efficient as it absolutely can be. And one of our customers that's actually in the audience that Judson talked about this morning, Maersk Containers, it turns out to be efficient in that business, it really helps if you can manufacture the container close to where it wants to start its first journey. So as a result, they have manufacturing facilities in China, and I think a second one coming online within a month or two, as well as in Chile, where a lot of agricultural products leave from. And they manufacture their containers in China and Chile. The administrative staff is in Europe. They're actually running out of our US data center and getting the right response time and performance globally because of the engineering work we did in Dynamics 365 to make sure that we were efficient in that kind of network reality. The applications themselves need to be modern. And we talked this morning with James about a couple of key things that we've done with Dynamics 365. The first is the idea of saying, I don't just have one big ERP and one big CRM, but people can have discrete workloads. So when we introduced Dynamics 365 in the fall, we introduced for the first time the ability to separately buy and deploy sales, customer service, field service, project service, or marketing. What we've changed this spring release, which spring comes late in Seattle, but we'll be releasing within the last week of June, first week of July, is within the operational side, being able to separately deploy retail and or separately deploy our new talent workload. So it's the idea that as you transform and you want to attack one process area, that you can get just what you need for that. You can implement just what you need for that, and then you can use that with what you already have, and then move on. The second piece, which we'll see in the demos, is a tremendous amount of investment to make sure that when you use multiple pieces, they work together. So what I do when I ship an order or an invoice an order will show up for the seller that needs to work with that customer in their sales application. And that's a significant amount of investment that we've made in sort of terms of modernizing the experience. I would focus on sort of 3 other characteristics. One is making the way the users interact with the software modern. And you heard this morning in the demos, the importance when you're trying to collect feedback on a candidate to realize that when somebody's interviewing somebody, they typically finish the interview and then run out of the room. Well, the rest of us on the interview loop want that feedback, but they're already off on something else. So the focus on saying that person's going to be on their phone, I need to give them a quick, modern way to provide that feedback on the phone is going to change the effectiveness of that whole process. So we've done a set of things like that across the application. I think the second thing is looking at how the business processes want to change for today's world. And I'll talk about talent as well today. And this is an area where it's increasingly hard to compete for people. And if you think about it, people you're trying to recruit or hire, they're forming an opinion about your company and whether they want to work there from that first contact they have with the recruiter forward. And so if that scheduling is awkward, that's going to show to them as part of the problem. The first thing they're going to do when they get list of who they're going to interview with is they're going to go check them out. I mean, Doug talked about the idea of it's now not only okay but expected that you digitally stalk the people you're going to meet with. It's the first thing candidates do. So we're serving that up right in the invite that the candidate will get. They'll see the team and they'll be prompted right from there to go check out their profile on LinkedIn. And so we're really changing the way the applications work to meet the process as people want to do it today. You saw the same thing across the retail experience. And then the last piece is this idea of building in the intelligence. And so the core of adding intelligence to applications, and for me, this is the most exciting change. This is going from applications that used to be just about recording history to be about that whole idea of empowering people to do things better and smarter because of what we learn. It starts with the platform, and the core premise is what you see along the bottom. We're trying to take data, apply intelligence to that data to generate insights, and then turn that insight into action. So it's data, insight, action. We get data from a number of sources, from the applications, from IoT sensors, from all kinds of other data sources. We bring that into our AI platform. And this is a place where I think everybody in the industry is talking about AI. This is a place where Microsoft is different. We have a heritage in this space. It's our Microsoft Research AI teams that are setting the standards for what you can do with speech recognition, what you can do with image recognition, what you can do with certain health problems. AI is what makes Bing work. It's what makes Cortana work. And we're bringing that same platform and that same technology to the business applications. Together with the data assets to both handle the structured data from business applications as well as the huge sets of data that come in from things like IoT and social. And then finally, we take the results of that insight and we drop it into the applications or even in some cases to automating the processes directly. I think the other thing that distinguishes Microsoft is the set of data, and you'll see this, you've seen a little bit of it this morning, you'll see it in Scott's session, you'll see it in our demos in a few minutes, is the set of data assets that Microsoft has that we can bring into this process. So it starts at the top with the data we get from the Dynamics applications, and that's a huge predictor of what's going to come in the future. But we layer into that the Office 365 data. So much that happens today still happens in email. It happens through communications. And where I can understand from Office 365, are people reading my mail? Did that customer actually not only look at the mail, but decide to forward it to 4 other people inside the company? Those things are those are huge signals to where I am in a sales process or a hiring process. And being able to do that with full respect to making sure that we honor the privacy of whose data is that at any time. If it's an email that's mine, it should be me that gets prompted to say, do you want to make this part of the business process, not somebody else. And so The Office data is a key asset, and we have AI running in Office that's feeding signal directly to the Dynamics applications. You've seen it. You'll see more of it this afternoon. The IoT platform, the ability to take sensor data and feed that into machine learning models to do predictive maintenance. Bing provides us access to data from all over the web. And we're able to bring that in an intelligent way into the business application. So, for example, if weather affects your business, being able to get weather signal. If local events would make a difference in a retail business or a restaurant, being able to get the idea of events close to my location and bring that into a predictive model. Being able to look at news stories and identify which ones are really relevant to a seller or not. And then finally, the LinkedIn data, and you've seen already today, and you'll see more examples of how we think that LinkedIn data can help drive intelligent applications. So Microsoft has a unique set, not just of platform capabilities, but of data sources to tie together. The examples you saw Eric demonstrate how sales relationship health is powered by the Office 365 signal. You saw how the talent and relationship selling applications benefit from the LinkedIn data. You saw, and you'll see a little bit more this afternoon, how the IoT sensor data can drive predictive maintenance and make that more efficient. And then finally, you'll see in Scott's session this afternoon, a new platform we call Customer Insights that starts a data graph with the customer at the center and brings signal from a number of diverse sources to help a business better figure out what their customer is most interested in. The final piece of our story is this application platform, and James talked about it. It's Power Apps, it's Flow, it's the Common Data Service. And they really drive two things for us. And it's that middle layer in the picture. It's Power BI, Power Apps, Flow, the Common Data Service. They really are driving two things for us. The first is integration. So that idea that something that happens in shipping is known to sales, all that integration across those different workloads, everything is going through the Common Data Service. So the Common Data Service is a platform that runs on our cloud that provides sort of what you expect in terms of dealing with business data, with security model, et cetera. We've also set up, James kept putting up that picture of all the different data circles. That's our common data model. It's a schema that we can tie our applications together with, but also make that data available to our customers so that they can do the unique things they need in their environment. So that common data service and the common data model is the center of everything we're doing to integrate, but it's more than that. Every place we have key partnerships where we're tying to other workloads, that glue in the middle is the common data service and the common data model. So please join me in welcoming Dave Welsh from Adobe. As people have certainly heard, we have a strong partnership with Adobe around a lot of things. The one we'll focus on today is what we're doing with marketing in the Dynamics 365 picture and how this story of platform is helping make that possible. Dave, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
So maybe if you could just tell us a little bit first about the partnership and what you guys are, what you're focused on, that would be great.
So most people here probably know Adobe as the Acrobat team or the Acrobat company or the Creative Cloud company. That's not what this partnership is all about. So we actually have something.
Although if you go to the device bar, we've done great things together on that stuff as well.
So we actually have something, created a new cloud. We call it our Experience Cloud. And at Adobe, we think that, like you do, that experiences are going to be really driving the next generation of digital transformation. So we created this thing called Experience Cloud, and we put in it our Marketing Cloud, our Advertising Cloud, and our Analytics Cloud. And with that, we created a new cloud service that we decided that we wanted to partner with, up with Microsoft. And so we are doing integrations between our Experience Cloud and Dynamics 365, as well as we're doing pretty deep integrations with Azure and using Azure as our cloud platform service.
We're certainly excited about both parts of that.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about sort of why Common Data Service, why Common Data Model, and sort of what that
Yeah, so it's an interesting story about how we got there. So if I kind of step back, what we've been hearing a lot from our customers is around digital transformation and helping them run their businesses better. And so for this audience, I'll kind of call out three things that we hear about digital transformation. First was disjointed systems. And so disjointed systems across sales, marketing, and services. And so taking a customer on a journey from marketing to sales and support, those systems don't naturally always work together. You guys are doing a fantastic job on Dynamics, but on the marketing side, we needed to bring those two solutions together, marketing and sales and service. Second kind of thing that we heard about from customers and customer feedback was around consistent engagements across those three touch points. So making sure that the customer journey and the experience that you're delivering between a marketing experience, a sales experience, and a support experiences, it's all the same or very, very consistent. And then the third thing that we heard from our customers was around data. And so like you, data drives a lot of action and a lot of insight. And so helping customers harness all the data that they're collecting, being able to use that data to determine next actions and best offers and that stuff. So we decided that we wanted to partner up with Microsoft to more quickly advance these specific three areas. And so our journey to CDS kind of started off with Azure. Not with CDS, but started off with Azure.
It's where the journey ends that matters.
Yeah, and as we're replatforming our cloud solutions onto Azure, we also decided we wanted to take a look at Dynamics because we thought that could help us bridge the sales, marketing, and support type of solution. As we were looking at Dynamics, we discovered Common Data Model. And so as we're doing our integrations with Common Data Model and Dynamics, kind of coincidentally over at Adobe, we have a parallel engineering effort going on around what we call Experience Data Model. And that's so creating a standard schema around experiences and marketing type of data. And so taking our Common Data Model and our Experience Data Model and munging your Common Data Model, our Experience Data Model, munging those two things together to create better experiences. That just made total sense to us, right? That we would be able to do that. And then from there, as we learned more about Common Data Model and Common Data Services, it just kind of made, again, sense in order for us to integrate in with Common Data Services to provide one-stop shopping for our customers, our joint customers, to be able to take our data and the integrations that we're creating and build applications on top of those.
Yeah, and I think, just sort of that one key point of saying that all the data in our applications will be available in one place through the Common Data Service and with a published schema, which is the Common Data Model that not just makes it easier for customers to grab hold of, but helps drive that whole ecosystem so that if ISVs want to understand the data that's flowing, for example, between Adobe and Dynamics, they can point right at that schema. They can understand it. They can know that it's been proven at scale, and they can bet on that for the solutions that they want to build as well. So how do you think this really translates into in benefits for our mutual customers?
For mutual customers. So I kind of think of this as the power of threes. I'm a three kind of guy. So three different benefits that I would call out. One is the integration between our mutual products. So our Experience Cloud, our Marketing Cloud, and Dynamics, and just having us do out-of-the-box integration to make those products work together takes a lot of project risk, project expense out of our mutual customers. Second thing is around beyond those product integrations is as we take our data and bring these two bring our data models together. This is going to enable us to create standardized data models for marketing and sales for our customers to be able to leverage and gain new insights on. And then Common Data Service would be kind of the third thing I would call out. And again, that's an ability to be able to take your data, your standardized data across our Marketing Cloud, Experience Cloud, Dynamics, be able to surface that into new apps and new experiences.
So what comes next?
So I'm pretty excited that we're already out of the gate. So we've got a number of products in market together already. We've got our campaign orchestration, Adobe Campaign integration with Dynamics. We've got our Adobe Experience Manager, so web content management, web experience management type product integration. And then we've got analytics that we've lit up, Adobe Analytics. So at Adobe, we collect probably trillions. Actually, I shouldn't say probably. We collect close to 100 trillion web events on an annualized basis, and making that information available through Power BI. So already in market with a number of solutions. But the more exciting thing, I think, is what we're doing. I think we've got a whole lot of products in market, but we've just kind of scratched the surface. And so there's more work that we're doing on CDM, CDS, and our experience data model. More work on doing data integration or product integrations. And then at Adobe, we've probably got a project that's biggest, most significant project, important project for us, that's all about creating a common data platform for our experience data. And that's where we're going to be taking all of the data that we collect on your behalf for advertising, for marketing, and for analytics, putting that all on a single data platform. And that's all going to be built on Azure.
And with GDPR compliance, I'm sure.
Oh my God, yes. So we spend about as much time as you, yes, the VP of compliance. But that's all going to be built on top of Azure. It's going to have Azure Data Lakes. It's going to have Azure Data Factory. It's going to have Cortana Intelligence Suite. It's going to have, on Adobe side, we've got our magic that we bring to the party called Sensei. It's going to have machine learning for big data. So collectively, what we're going to be able to do is take data that we're collecting, experience data that we're collecting for on behalf of your customers. We're going to be able to take our sales, marketing data, sales and support data that you have in Dynamics, any other first-party data that you have, any other third-party data you have, land that all in one place, and then enable through the magic of common data model, experience data model, be able to do some very advanced machine learning type algorithms on it. So pretty excited about what we're doing there.
Thanks for taking the time to share it with us.
Okay.
That's great.
Pleasure.
It's, in a lot of cases, we talk about partnerships in this industry, but the cool thing for me is the depth of the shared engineering that's going on, and we really are collaborating on the shape of sort of that part of the common data model that sits between marketing and sales, and a whole set of other things that are coming forward. The last thing that I want to talk about before we do the demos is sort of the other dimension of what the common data service plus Power Apps brings together. Is if you've got this idea that you have all of your data in one place, and one of the key things is you start with our horizontal and industry solutions, so Dynamics plus Office 365. We're bringing all of that stuff together into the common data model. So I can look not just at my business data, but I can look at key things from Office, for example, calendar events that might be associated with a business meeting in a single, consistent way. That we add on top of that our ISV ecosystem and the set of partners that build things that take our solutions and specialize it for a particular vertical. So for example, we build a solution that's great for retail. We have a partner that makes that fashion retail, and similarly across the industries. That's a critical part of our strategy. And Power Apps is sort of that last piece that if I now have a data platform that's got all of my data accessible to me, and I've got this thing that lets me build apps for the most part without writing code, I can start to do the things and I can automate the things that are completely unique to my business. The one for which, as James said, there is no app for that. Microsoft's not building it. A partner's not out there building it. But you'll see one in the demo this afternoon where the company we're talking about had a process that was completely unique to them. And they were able to build a professional mobile app, and I actually know these guys built it in 2 days because we only gave them 2 days to get the work done, a professional mobile app that shows an experience that's completely tailored to their process. And we're seeing that across the board. We're seeing that people are saying, this is an app that if I had to write code, we never would have done it. You can't do everything that way. Eventually, people like me still have a job, you get to that last edge. But the ability to let the people who are doing the work and know the process get almost all the way there and then bring in a developer maybe to finish that last little bit is a key thing that we think is going to enable the next wave of productivity. So kind of enough talking at this point. Why don't we, I'm going to ask Ryan to come up and take us through a set of demos that hopefully show you what we've been talking about.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're going to look at actually 3 vignettes today on how Dynamics 365 can support your business from an end-to-end process. So we're going to start by looking at the sales aspect and how we're empowering employees to engage with their customers to stay ahead on deals. Then we're going to look at how we optimize operations so that we can fulfill orders, that we can deliver forecasting, and that we're actually able also to deliver unique customer experiences with the Power Apps that we've just talked about. And lastly, we'll look at we're helping our customer transform their products so that they can deliver proactive services to their customers and receive continuous feedback from them. So let's actually take a look at the demo. As I mentioned, I'm going to start as a sales representative in the organization, and I wake up in the morning and I'm looking at my phone. And probably similar to you, you have a lot of unread emails, and a lot of those require actions. So in the context of looking at Outlook on my iPhone here, I'm actually able to see that a meeting I have later today is actually requesting me to send the quotation to them prior to the visit. So they've thrown me a curveball. I'd like to actually handle this on my mobile device from my living room, for example. So looking at Dynamics 365 within Outlook, it brings all the context of the deal to me that we're actually working on at this particular moment. So we see that we're selling 3D printers to Graphic Design Institute. It's a deal that's closing soon, and it's about $600,000 in revenue. So we can jump into the Dynamics 365 app, and we're able to see and generate a quotation here. Well, that's the way we'd like to leave things on the stage, because then they time out. So quickly do this. Sorry about that. There we go. So as we sign in here, we'll open the app. And what we're able to do is, as I mentioned, generate the quotation. Now, this is really bringing together Dynamics 365 and Office 365. So what we see here is we have the same opportunity, and we're able to look at the quotations that we have. We have an active quotation. It contains the products. We've already prepared this because we're going to the meeting today. But as I mentioned, bringing Office 365 into the process gives me the available Word templates, in this case the quote template that we'd like to use, and actually generates the document on my mobile device. And here we have the quotation. We can easily send it to the customer, and we fulfilled the request on the email without ever leaving our mobile device. So switching slightly ahead of the day, we're actually going to arrive at the customer's location. And what we see here is our relationship assistant. And we have a meeting in 9 minutes. So we're sitting at the entrance. We're about ready to go there. It obviously told us the location so we can arrive. It tells us which individuals are showing at the meeting as well. And we have a lot of intelligence in the cards. For example, here we see, looking at the Office 365 information, there's an issue in an email, or we haven't taken any opportunity, or we have a new stakeholder. All different kinds of intelligence brought to us, which we'll touch upon a little bit later. As I mentioned, we're jumping into the particular opportunity that we're looking at, and now we're going to pitch. We're trying to sell the 3D printers. We want to tell them about how great our features are. So within the context of the opportunity, we have the documents that are available to us. And perhaps you notice at the bottom, we also see here a suggestion for a document. I'm about ready to pitch the 3D printer, but we have a campaign going on at this moment. We're trying to also sell scanners with our 3D printers, and the system is automatically recommending the scanner pitch document for me so that I can utilize that while I'm at the customer site. So opening up the PowerPoint presentation, we have the rich skills of PowerPoint, which I'm sure everyone is aware. I spent a little too long on this because I have a nice graphic in PowerPoint in a second. So we're at the customer, we're presenting. We see the information here concerning the 3D printer. At least we should. Okay, PowerPoint did not want to present for some reason. I have no idea why. Anyway, so we present to the customer. They very much appreciate the deal, and we move forward. There we go, sorry. So we return back to the office, and we see that we have a $500K gap in our pipeline. So as we have that gap, which is what Eric talked about earlier, we'd really like to solve the particular issue that we have. Jumping into the opportunity relationship, we get an overview of information about that particular opportunity. And this is, again, based on the Office 365 data that we have. How many emails have we sent? How many meetings have we had? And it's actually tracking that and aggregating it against all of the other opportunities that are ongoing in the system, and it's producing a relationship health. And what you might notice is I have a deal worth $600,000, which is supposed to close in 2 days, and it's in a poor health. So it's up to me as a sales representative to turn that around, but Dynamics 365 is actually going to offer us the intelligence to turn that particular deal around. So jumping into that opportunity, what we see immediately is that we have the relationship assistant specific to the deal that we're looking at. Before, we saw it in the overall actions we were taking during the day. Now we're looking at it for this deal. And one of the cards that we see here indicates that the email we had sent was just opened by them. That's taken place by email engagement. Something marketeers have had in their hands for a long time is now brought into the hands of sales representatives to actually see, have they opened the email? Have they clicked on the links? Have they looked at the attachments? And furthermore, we also see here that we have emails that are stored that only are not tracked yet in Dynamics 365. Perhaps if you've ever used a previous version, you had to track every single email into the correct record for it to be visible within the process. Now we're linking Office 365 emails with Dynamics 365. So going forward on there, let's actually take a look at what that particular email looks like in terms of the engagement with the customer. So this is the quotation that I sent them. I'm actually following that email. I've requested a reminder here, and what we'll see is that they've opened it 5 times, they've viewed it, the attachments 2 times, and they've clicked on the links. But unfortunately, they haven't replied yet to me. So they are engaging, but they're not actually answering my questions. So what I'm able to do, very similar to what we saw from Eric earlier on, is use the power of LinkedIn to actually reach out to my network and expand the communication I have with them so that we can turn this deal around. So just to recap that shortly, we had 2 deals we were working on. One we closed successfully while we were on site with the customer and is ready for fulfillment. The other, which had poor relationship health, that we've turned around using email engagement, using the power of the LinkedIn network. So switching gears, what we're actually going to do is jump into the operations aspect of order fulfillment that we're looking at right now. So that order that we closed with Graphic Design Institute after presenting them the PowerPoint, we can see here, and we're ready to fulfill. As I mentioned, we're actually running a campaign right now trying to sell those scanners. And me, as fulfillment of this order, I'm starting to wonder if we're actually going to have enough supply to fulfill the demand that we have. So looking at our demand forecasting capabilities here, what we typically have seen in ERP applications is the forecast is based on historical demand. We might have quarterly spikes, and we can base that information. With Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations Enterprise Edition, we're actually able to embed machine learning into this forecasting. And we can use different types of factor to determine what that's going to be. So we see here, looking forward, we have particular confidence intervals, and we can see how that's going to impact our MRP run, our material requirement planning, which is actually what we would see when we jump here. We have a series of production orders. We have a series of planned purchase orders that are either urgent, delaying sales, delaying forecasts, and delaying safety stock. So me, taking care of order fulfillment process, feel comfortable that I can actually process this order, release it to the warehouse, and that it can be picked up and processed further on in the safe. So let's jump back here into that particular sales order that we were looking at a second ago, actually open that particular record and post it to the warehouse. And that's done quite simply here in this case of release to warehouse. You'll see a series of actions that actually take place, and now we're going to switch personas in this example. So what we're going to do is quickly minimize this and project from my phone and give that a start. And yes, we do. Perfect. So what we have here is a specific app designed for, in this case, a warehouse worker. So as I open this particular app, what we'll see is that I'm actually going to go through the process of picking the order that we just saw. So I'm going to access the sales picking system. And what we'll see is here, I have a series of tasks. So I'm going to use, and hopefully this one works, I'm going to use here the boxes with the barcodes I have. I think this is not a 3D printer. It would be something impressive if we could fit it in this box. But as I start to, let me turn it on. There we go. There we go. That was probably the good sound. Yeah. So as I start to scan the box, what we'll see here is we get the pick, we get the information, we can move forward with that particular process. It directs us in the warehouse to go to the next area to pick the following item. We successfully do this, and we see that these items are being placed at the bay door so that they can be picked up and actually put on the truck so that we have a last in, first out scenario in terms of the delivery for this truck. So switching gears here, we've actually been noticing in the organization that we've had a series of support issues that have taken place because we actually have not been deploying these 3D printers on site in a good fashion. So our business analysts took a look at this and actually decided that they could improve the process. But as Mike mentioned previously, this might have taken months worth of development to do because they had very specific requirements for their organization. In this case, they introduced what we call the Lister app. And this Lister app is a series of steps that allows the technicians to walk through the work orders that they're delivering on site with the particular customer. So what we're seeing here is we have our first work order taking a duration of 75 minutes, and we're delivering the 30 3D printers that we sold and the 31 scanners that we have. So as we go forward with this process, we're on site at the customer. We're obviously selecting the first item. With native control, we see here that we scan the barcode. And we get into the process of actually going through our checklist. A lot of times in companies that I've been familiar with, this would have been a paper-based system as well. So very quickly being able to utilize first the physical environment. So have we set up the power, surge protected, et cetera, et cetera. Is the connectivity correct? This is also important in terms of what we talk about transforming the products, because we're deploying IoT sensors within these 3D printers to receive information about how they're performing in the field and proactively servicing them. And then as we go forward, before we leave this area, we're going to attach the latest reference links, we're going to zip tie the cables, and we're going to leave a consumable coupon here. And we're going to instruct on the maintenance. And what this actually allows us to do is, in this case, request Vince to provide us a signature, which is actually going to be the trigger for a flow to generate an invoice in Dynamics 365. So we finished that aspect, we're done, and of course what we see is we have a completed work order, we get in our car and travel to the next destination and obviously service the next customer we have. So rounding that off, we'll just go out here, and we'll go. Is one of the things that really reminds me of the days when I used to run my own company. So what we're looking at here is credits and collections. And one of the KPIs that I set with my management team was if we could have a days outstanding less than 30 on our invoices, we probably had satisfied customers. Because if people are paying their bills on time, they're probably happy with the services that you're looking at. So with Dynamics 365, of course, we're able to track this end-to-end process and surface this information not only to the finance information, but also people who are working in the operations or in the sales department so that they can see this. Moving a little bit forward in the process, we're going several weeks further. And we're looking at the aspect that they've been using that particular printer for some time now. But what happens, keeping with our story, is that we see that we've automatically, through the power of IoT and Azure, received an alert. And that alert is talking to us about a temperature reading. So we have particular thresholds that we, in the first example, if it's 80 Fahrenheit, we might say, let's automatically send a command from Dynamics 365 to that device for it to reboot. But the reboot did not solve, so it continues to spike in temperature. It passes the second threshold, and it creates an alert. So that's just transactional record. There's really nothing special about that. What is very special is the business processes that are associated with that particular IoT alert. So in the first instance, we obviously see somewhat technical record, but if we move the business process forward, we see that a case has been created. And for those that are familiar with Dynamics 365 for customer service, we embed full knowledge around the cases, and we're able to actually help the resources solve the problem. In this example, we have automatically created tasks to schedule the technicians and to create the work order that are necessary. Now, you probably saw earlier this morning that Eric had the IVR, the integrated voice response. We can proactively inform the customer, et cetera. Now, one of the things that's quite unique, in my opinion here, is we've talked today and shown a couple manual scheduling. Now, that's nice, but probably a lot of the things in your businesses need to be automated in this sense. So this is what we call the resource scheduling optimization engine. And it's using the power of Azure and machine learning to take all your requirements into account. What jobs do we have? What skills do the people have? what certifications do they have, what equipment do they have in the van, and then we're automatically able to plan your schedule board so that they are automatically there, and dispatchers or people working on cases have times to spend on incidents, not on routine work that they would need to do. And lastly, for this demonstration, what we wanted to show was the idea of continuous feedback. So what we're looking at here is the voice of the customer, and we're sending a survey after that resolution has taken place for that particular case, and we request the information in terms of was it good or neutral or excellent. And the thing I wanted to call out was if I, for example, receive a positive 9 score here, they submit it. But if we can have dynamic behavior within our surveys, so if we see that it's a low score of 3, we actually ask them to provide more information so we can continue a process of improvement within our organization. So with that being said, that was the product demonstration we were trying to show you today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ryan. And just to point out, there were 2 things that he showed you. That Lister app, that was the Power App. So that was built by the business analysts that understood they needed to put a new process in place and put together without code, but completely custom fit to, thank you, to their process. And then that credit and collections dashboard is part of our new release, which is actually coming out in the next week or 2. What's showing you that is Power BI embedded completely within Dynamics. So it's our in-memory BI engine for Microsoft, completely embedded in the application. And that one screen was one of, I think, about 9 or 10 pages of deep analytics strictly around the credit and collections process. So you'll see this across our application is a consistent set of additional out-of-the-box BI functionality that's right there. It's obviously extendable and changeable by the customer, but it's a place that gives you the depth of sort of what we're finding in terms of what people want from a BI point of view. So just to sort of wrap up, I think as we think about the kind of applications that will power this digital transformation, it's not enough to just work in the application. It takes investment from the base of the cloud platform, through the data platform, through the data sources that you bring together, through the productivity and business apps, and then that adaptable platform to do the last mile. And if you look across the industry, there's only one company that is investing in every level of that stack, and that's Microsoft. And not only is the investment there, we're able to achieve things because we work together as a single team. So the idea that we showed Power BI as part of the Dynamics experience. A year ago, Power BI only ran as a standalone tool. You had to go out of your app and go someplace else to do BI. And we drove the meat from a Dynamics point of view that says, no. A user doing something from a business point of view should have the BI they need right where they need to be. And that led to the innovation on the Power BI side that says, not only can you run this as a separate app, but it can be completely embedded and controlled within another app experience. So we drove that work. It's now one of the most popular features in the industry for ISVs with Power BI, and it's driving a tremendous amount of excitement. But it's that innovation together that makes all the difference. And then on the left side, increasingly we see the cloud is clearly the leading edge of growth and innovation, but that ability, that hybrid ability to connect back to a customer's on-premises environment for the things that either need to be there or want to be there is something that, again, through Federation, Microsoft is uniquely positioned to address. So, from our point of view, it's a very exciting time in this industry. No better time to begin the journey of digital transformation. And we're happy to be available to all of you as a partner with that. So thank you for your time this afternoon.